There's a group called Opportunity Arkansas, Homegrown Ideas for Real Change. And an article came across my desk written by my friend Nicholas Horton, who is exposing a plan to expand food stamps in Arkansas. And the reason I'm covering this is because, first of all, it's a great article, but second of all, I have just something to add at the end of this argument here. But who's really behind the latest push to expand food stamps in Arkansas? This was written back on the 24th. Okay, I find this fascinating. If you want to know that Arkansas has, lobbyists, just like other aspects of, the federal government does that we have to compete with, this would be one of them. So there's a debate over a bill, Senate Bill 306, and food stamps expansion. It's heated up the last few weeks, and it's by Senator Jonathan Dismang. And Nick Horton writes that he has a history of being liberal on welfare issues. But who's really behind SB 306? Okay, SB 306 is being pushed by Impact Management Group, a Republican lobbying firm based in Little Rock, on behalf of, listen to this, Southern Bank Corp, a community development finance institution. So you can read about Southern Bank Corp's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion here at this website, again, opportunityarkansas.org. Here we have some receipts, and so Nick Horton here brings receipts about Bancorp Souths and their contributions to lobbyists. Notably, Impact is fairly significant donor to also Senator Jonathan Dismang. We have the receipts there as well. So in addition to their contract lobbyists, Southern Bancorp employs an in-house lobbyist named Janie Ginocchio. Our readers probably don't recognize her name, but she's a former writer for the Arkansas Times, one of the most liberal blogs and vicious blogs in the country. But Southern Bancorp is run by a guy named Darren Williams, the former Democrat Speaker designate of the Arkansas House. So now, if you're like me, you're probably asking yourself, this is a great question, why does a bank care about expanding food stamps that they are willing to employ expensive lobbyists to make it happen? Why do that? Well, and why are Republicans and Democrats considering, why are they thinking about that they're going to do this, even though Governor Sarah Sanders strongly opposes it? Nick Horton writes, I can't fully explain that. It seems odd to me, but I can tell you what I do. But I can tell you what I know. Southern Bancorp has been trying to expand welfare for at least a decade. Now, see, I did not know this. This is news to a lot of us, isn't it? This is news to a lot of us. Give them points for consistency. Southern Bancorp has been pushing for welfare for the wealthy for at least a decade. In fact, they have not so subtly advocating the elimination of the asset limit going back. So this has to do with the asset limit. So when do you get welfare? When do you not get welfare? It's determined based on your assets or your income, that sort of thing. In a policy brief titled Making the Case for Eliminating Asset Limits, Why Asset Limits Undermine Financial Security for Arkansans, the authors argue for exactly that. They say expanding food stamps will help Arkansans achieve the American dream. To help Arkansan individuals and families achieve the American dream and put them on the path to economic self-sufficiency, asset limits must be eliminated on TANF and SNAP programs. They also cite former far-left President Barack Obama's support for massively raising asset limits in food stamps. But again, why does a bank care so much about expanding welfare? Well, so here's the kicker. This is fascinating to me. Southern Bancorp has been explicit about their desire to erode Arkansas asset limits to help them open bank accounts. Bank accounts. It's more bank accounts is what they're saying. Don't take my word for it. Read it from Southern Bancorp themselves. According to their policy brief, pesky little things like welfare rules can cause anxiety for people, which might stop them from opening bank accounts and should therefore be eliminated. Quote, the anxiety of asset testing, so they'll be able to, basically the government will be able to verify what you got in the bank account and say, oh, you don't qualify. So they're saying that's going to keep them from opening bank accounts with us, Bancorp. It's pretty interesting where you kind of see where all the motivations line up, isn't it? The anxiety of asset testing may prevent some households from opening and sustaining a bank account and may keep them outside the financial mainstream. Now, this is where my antenna started to go up. When I was reading this article, this is really where my antenna started going up. Have you guys heard of central bank digital currencies? Have you heard of the globalist plans? Have you heard of the World Economic Forum plans, what they want to do? They want everybody in the financial mainstream. There is a quest to eliminate cash. And so while this may be as simple as they want more money in their bank, the overall policy here to eliminate asset limits is also going to make sure less and less people have cash. We have been brainwashed in this country. Now, I want you to think about this. We have been, and the police do this too. If they pull someone over and you've got too much cash, they assume you're a criminal, which is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. We have been brainwashed and, conditioned to believe that if you have cash, you're up to no good. And while there are people up to no good that have large amounts of cash, folks, if you want true freedom at this point where the government can basically monitor everything you do on the internet, cash is king. Cash means privacy. If you don't have privacy, you do not have freedom. It is that simple. And that's why this article really piqued my interest, because it goes to reinforce the banks, and their whole worldview, which we're about to find out is completely bogus and is a house on sinking sand. Nick Horton writes, therefore, as the authors explain, a key part of the asset limit reform is to encourage people to support savings and holding bank accounts. Oddly enough, opening bank accounts happens to be a big part of Southern Bancorp's business model. This logic is also consistent with what Southern's hired lobbyist told me last session. Southern Bancorp believes that raising the food stamp asset limit will help bring money out of the shadows and into their banks. This is because I was told food stamp enrollees actually have thousands of dollars in cash under their mattress and under their truck seats. A line recently parroted by Senator Dismang on the Senate floor. And they can't put it in the bank, otherwise the government might see it and catch onto their scheme, and it would cost them welfare money. So you get the point. This article, got to check this article out again up at opportunityarkansas.org. Again, it was fascinating to me, which is why I wanted to share it with you here on Conservative Arkansas Media.